Hello, Ankit sir. How are you?
Hey guys, hi. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible. I hope you're doing well.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks a lot for coming, sir. And Harshita, also thank you for joining us. I hope I'm audible to you as well.
Hey Siddharth, yes you are. Thanks for having me. I can also see Rohan on the call. Been great seeing you both again. Just a few months back, I was on your side. Thanks for having me. Hi Ankit sir, pleasure having you here with us today.
Yeah, hi. I don't know why you are addressing me as sir. I
Okay,
hope I.
let's stick with
Mm,
Ankit then.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody here should just stick with Ankit. Thank you.
Sure. Yes Siddharth, you can start.
Sure. So, Ankit, should I start with a small intro, post which we can, I'll hand it over to Harshita and she will moderate the session for us.
Sure, absolutely works.
So hello everyone. We have with us today Ankit Doshi. He's the founder of CEO. He's the founder and CEO of InsideIIM, which is a platform for students to enhance themselves and get into the top tier Indian institutions. He has completed his MBA from IIM Indore, and then he went on to work for Bank of America as an analyst in the Global Treasury Services. He then went on to create InsideIIM.com, Campus App, and altuni.in. He is an entrepreneur with a focus in the area of edtech, HR tech, and media. He's a public speaker and actively gives talk on entrepreneurship and education. It's a pleasure having you with us, sir. And also to introduce Ms. Harshita. She's here with us to moderate the session. She's currently working with Mondelēz International in their customer service and logistics, where she leads the India's general trade in order to cash operations. She has completed her MBA from IIT Bombay and is a member of Harvard Business Review. Prior to MBA, she worked with Tata Consultancy Services as a lead developer for engineering enhancements. Her primary interests lie in the field of business and tech, and she's also very fond of painting, traveling, and sporting activities. It's a pleasure to have you both, and Harshita, I hand it over to you.
Thanks a lot, Sid, for that brilliant introduction of me. Ankit, absolute pleasure to have you here with us today. Just so you know, InsideIIM has been a ray of hope for me during my MBA journey, and I'm very sure it's been for a lot of other people here on the forum as well. Just a quick update on how the session is going to be today. It's just a very candid conversation between you and me, where we just want to dive into your brain of being an entrepreneur. How has your journey so far been? What is your vision for InsideIIM, and so on and so forth. Just so the audience here and along with me, we'll take a few inspirational lessons from you and take it forward in our life as well. So I have a few questions that the audience have given me right before the session. I have a few questions I would like to ask you, and we'll also keep the floor open just so in case the audience want to pitch in any questions that they have at their end. So that is a good way to start, is it?
So I have like a couple of slides,
Okay,
which
sure.
basically talk about me. So maybe that will help you in figuring out. Maybe some questions might automatically get answered, and some then you can decide whether you want to dig deep into. So it's literally just a couple of. So I'm not able to share my screen. If whoever is the editor can maybe give me um, access to share the screen, I can actually do that.
Let's ask Siddharth so that helps. Sid, can you just help out Ankit with sharing his slides?
Okay, I think I
Yes.
have got. Yeah, I think I've got the access now. Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you. Perfect. I'm hoping you guys can see my screen now.
Yes, Ankit, it is up.
Okay, awesome. Just waiting for this to load up. Sorry, I'm taking a few seconds. Okay, perfect. Okay. Like to call myself a confused entrepreneur who's now slowly gaining clarity. But I'm still confused. So that's how I'd like to just call this a notes of a confused entrepreneur. So, I can see about 230 odd people here. For people who want to know me, so I've put a couple of pictures of me in foreign countries because historically I've seen that seems to get people's attention. So one is a picture on my exchange program about 12 years back from campus, and another is a picture 11 years back, when I just joined Bank of America, at Wall Street. This picture I've taken. So who am I? I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years. So while I may have worked at Bank of America, I actually lasted there only for 14 months. I jumped into building InsideIIM.com almost immediately. After that, I mean, on weekends, I used to just put up blogs on InsideIIM, and some of the content went viral. So I don't actually have a lot of corporate experience, but I like to flaunt Bank of America brand because, again, people seem to be interested in that. One thing I would like to say is that out of the 10 years of entrepreneurship, I have been bootstrapped for about 9 years. Hey guys, am I audible?
Yes, Ankit, you are audible.
Okay. No, my screen had frozen, so I thought maybe I'm not. So yeah, out of the 10 years of entrepreneurship, been bootstrapped for 9 years. We've raised money earlier this year in February from a clutch of investors, and there are a few media releases about that, and you can read about that. But broadly, being an old school entrepreneur, been profitable for large majority of our journey. So yeah, I'm Indore. I'm also a BCom grad. I'm not an engineer, so I can't code. The other thing is, there are a couple of animals that I'd like to highlight here. One is a hare, and the other is a cockroach, and I'll explain why. I also consider myself a philosopher, largely interested in cricket, all kinds of movies. I could have put football, but let me be specific. Also, it's fashionable to say that you are an Arsenal fan again, this season. So definitely interested in Arsenal, and also interested in financial markets. Obviously, from my background, but also my family has always been interested in financial markets. So that's, so this is essentially some background about me. Sorry. So yeah, as an entrepreneur, my mission is to enhance India's human capital, and that's the mission of our company as well. What have we built so far? So we built probably India's largest management community. We've built aspirational content for over 5 million professionals. We are by far India's #1 MBA platform. There is a YouTube channel that a lot of people seem to love. And obviously, about 2.5 years back, we've started AltUni by InsideIIM, which is our consumer foray, and we now have about 2,500 alumni who've done courses and programs on our platform, and we essentially upskill young Indians for jobs in the digital economy. So anything that is non-tech is something that we basically skill people in. So we have partnerships with employers like Unilever, Decathlon. So if you do a program with AltUni, you get a chance to actually do a project with all these employers and actually also get hired. So I'm very proud to say that one of the few ways in which you can actually get into a company like Unilever outside of going to the IIMs is actually AltUni. Strange as it may sound, we are actually able to enable this for a lot of people. And yeah, finally, look, this is what my philosophy is, and this is my last slide, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Harshita, again. But my philosophy as an entrepreneur is that whatever you build keeping in mind that you're building it for the next 100 years. And every single decision that we take at AltUni or InsideIIM is keeping in mind that our brand is going to be there for the next 100 years. I believe in building great trust and reputation amongst people. And hence, there are no short-term decisions that we take, right? And personally, I believe in building something that will endure the test of time and will have an impact on, millions of people, over a century at least. What keeps me going is also, again, the fact that impact is the fuel. What drives me is the fact that there are so many. I mean, Harshita said that, we probably helped her during her journey in whatever small way. I mean, on a daily basis, we get people on LinkedIn across various platforms thanking us or putting out messages saying that we've made a positive difference to their life. And that's a sense, gives me a sense of great achievement and pride. And that is really the fuel. Forget about revenue, valuation, etc., etc. That's something that you can keep debating and discussing. But that is why I'm still doing this, 10 years later as well. And we are no unicorns, right? But the impact is just so powerful that it's great to wake up every day in the morning and work on what we work. And finally, for me, entrepreneurship is freedom. The only reason I am an entrepreneur is because I realized that it allows me to express myself in the way that I want to. I don't have to answer to anybody. I can work on problems that I find challenging. I can solve them the way I want to. And if one fine day I feel like I don't want to do it, I can just quit. And I don't have to be under pressure from anyone or obligation from anyone. So yeah, I think this is largely my entrepreneurial philosophy. And if somebody asks me why should you be an entrepreneur, I would say that beyond everything else, all the fame, money, and even the impact is just freedom. I mean, the biggest valuable that you can have in your life is the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. And it's highly underestimated. People realize it when they turn 50, 55, 60. The sooner you realize it, it's better. And that's also a great reason to be an entrepreneur. So yeah, that's about from me, guys. Over to you, Harshita.
Thanks a lot, Ankit, for setting in the stage appropriately. But there are a certain set of questions that I'd like to ask you so that we can dig deep into some of the slides that you've just presented. So circling back, drifting back to 10 years, how did the seed of InsideIIM really tick into you? Where did you find the white space? How did you want to stitch it together so that, your vision of enhancing human capital actually played its purpose?
Yeah, great question. In our country, it's based on a simple observation that people don't spend enough time thinking about their career decisions, right? People spend a lot of time trying to crack entrance exams. People spend a lot of time trying to think about, I should get XYZ salary, right? But the amount of time that people spend on, say, buying a car, amount of time they spend buying a phone, the amount of time they spend deciding who they want to get married to, who they want to date, the amount of time people spend on, what real estate they want to buy. And you compare that to how much time they have spent or what their decision making has been when they've gone about choosing their career, you will be shocked by the naivety with which some of the smartest people, in the country have gone about doing it, right? And that's not necessarily the best way to do it, because it is the single biggest determinant of the quality of your life. What you do with your career, right? What is it that you do with your life, right? That is the single biggest determinant of your quality of life and whether you're going to be happy, unhappy. And I feel that there just hasn't been enough. There wasn't enough content available back then. It was just like you speak to 5 cousins of yours and they tell you, yeah, you should go into engineering, or you should do an MBA. Okay, which MBA should I do? You should go XYZ kind of an MBA. Okay, in an MBA, what kind of a job should I get? And just take the first job that you get on campus. It does not matter. Just go and sign up for any brand that you get. And the thing is, it's just so poorly done. And then people eventually struggle. Some people struggle 2 years later. Some people struggle 5 years later. There is so much regret. And there was a time when I had time. If I had invested in thinking about my career better, I would have done a better job. And I think that is essentially the start of this thing, and which is why I started the blog InsideIIM.com, where we started just focusing on what are the different roles that are available when you graduate from different campuses. And then one thing led to the other, and over the years, then our community started saying, okay, why don't you actually tell us? You are telling us, what roles are there. Why don't you actually also, upskill us in that? And that's how, eventually Altuni also came into being. We had run a multiple experiments, failed experiments around building courses earlier as well. So the seed was sown essentially on this observation or this insight that people don't invest in themselves and hence don't think about their career. And that's why this journey started. And because I am from a non-tech management background, I kind of focused on trying to build something in knowledge that I had and the field that I knew most about. And that's how, the InsideIIM community was built. And then text led to video. And I think Conversations Cafe was another inspired idea where we realized that just taking people through journeys of different people in the world would help people figure out life better. And then that's what's happened. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
That absolutely answers the question, Ankit. Because we are on a forum where we have people from IIT Bombay, we are a part of a privileged society where we get access to a lot of resources as such. So you also being a part of IIM background, did you think that your network at IIM or whatever you've seen in your journey at IIM has actually helped you in building a platform, especially for MBA aspirants? Because I am asking this question out of curiosity, because not everybody will get access to those resources, and you've tried to create that platform. So how did this happen? Do you think your network has played a part in your success at InsideIIM?
Yeah, it's probably played the biggest part in our success. And any young person who comes to me who asks me whether I should go to an IIT or IIM, it's a no-brainer. Please do. They are amongst the world's premier institutions. They may or may not always give you the best quality tuition, but they definitely put you amongst the smartest people on the planet. And please, if you ever get a chance to go to an IIT or you get a chance to go to an IIM, please go there. If you don't get that chance, that doesn't mean that there are not other ways to succeed in life. But if life is easy for you, and if you are cracking exams, and if you do get a chance to go there, you should definitely go there. And it definitely helped me in my journey. It definitely opens up doors much faster because I have batchmates, who are in great companies. So yeah, I mean, it definitely does. There is no doubt about it.
Right, Ankit. Just one more question, circling back to when you said the basis for InsideIIM has always been that people are not very clear on what they want to pursue in their career. Given that you've also had a very prolific career in finance, what was your tryst with finance? What made you quit finance and get into entrepreneurship journey?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been very clear that entrepreneurship has been my first love and everything else is secondary. So I had decided that I was going to be an entrepreneur even before I had an idea or even before I went to an IIM. That I was extremely clear about because of the fact that I value my freedom a lot, right? Now, it's just that it's not easy to become an entrepreneur immediately. So sometimes, your elders advise you to create certain kind of safety nets. Now, I'm talking about a time in late 2000s, right? Where today, the amount of capital and the amount of exposure that India gets is insane, right? So today it is possible for you to actually become an entrepreneur when you are in the final year of your undergrad or even in the second, third year of your undergrad. And there are people who are able to raise money and start, building companies from their dorm rooms. That wasn't the case earlier, and which is why a lot of our professors and elders advised us to, get a safety net in terms of a degree, and maybe also get a job to realize. Now, in that process, because I was a commerce student, I had to pick up some discipline to, kind of build some skill in. And for me, obviously, that ended up being finance, which was a slightly more natural but I have no personal love for finance or affinity for finance. It's just that, in the late 2000s, it seemed like finance people made a lot of money and it was very glamorous. And I used to get swayed by all those kinds of things. So I also chose that. But I don't have any specific love or passion in finance. And which is why, it was 14 months in, I switched into just building my own company because I said, look, I have an idea, and if I don't do it now, the more comfortable I get with the salary that I get from an MNC bank, the harder it's going to be for me to quit. And which is why, that's how the journey took place.
Right. Right, Ankit. So in the process, was it difficult to convince your family, to kind of get out of a very safe job and then start up this process?
But I mean, I did what they wanted me to do, which was that they wanted me to have some insurance. So my IIM degree was an insurance. They knew I was going to get a job if I failed in my entrepreneurial journey. I also worked in a company and proved to them that, look, I am employable. It's not that I just have a degree. I mean, I was not like a very bright student at IIM either, right? So I had to prove to them that I'm employable. So I did get a job amongst the best jobs available on campus. And I worked there for 14 months, made some money. So अभी इससे ज़्यादा और कितना proof देना है that, so I mean, I think I paid with time and, whatever that they needed me to do to prove to them that, look, I'm fine. So I think they were fine by the time I started.
Right. So I've read in one of your interviews that you've started inside IIM with 5,000 rupees, and now you've bootstrapped for 9 years, and then you have investors on board right now in the last 1 year. So just for every budding entrepreneur, finding investors, finding the right partners, finding the efficient workforce really plays an important role in their success. So what are your tips to budding entrepreneurs here in the process of finding the right investors? How do you engage the right workforce for you?
Yeah, I think the first question to ask is whether you need investors. Not every
Right.
business requires investors. There are certain businesses which are lifestyle businesses or businesses where you can scale it up to 20, 25, 30 crores even, but it's never going to be 1000 crores. But at a 30 crore revenue, you can, maybe take 20 crores in profits home, which is a incredible amount of money, even in today's India, right? So if
Right.
you are building a company which is of that sort, then you don't need investors. Why? Investors will just make your life hell, right? But if you are building a consumer product, or if there is a company that you are building which will have a high amount of GMV or large amount of scale, then you do need investors. And in that case, the earlier you find investors, the better. So I think it's more about what kind of an entrepreneur you are and what kind of a company you are building. So that's the first thing you need to figure. And then I think with the right kind of vision and early traction, I think now in India getting money is like very easy. I mean, relatively, you really can actually. There are enough people to bet on good ideas that can scale up very fast. But do realize that when venture capitalists enter this game, they are looking for a 100x kind of a return in a certain amount of time. And if you are, and then you need to be on that kind of a treadmill and that kind of a growth trajectory. So if you believe that that's what you want to do, then you should look for investors. And honestly, right from writing a cold message to investors on LinkedIn to finding their email IDs and writing a cold email with a pitch, I think everything works now in India. There are almost all the investors now have Twitter accounts where they keep on talking about what is it that they want to invest in, what kind of companies they've already invested in, and their general theories about which sectors are going to do well. So you can just write to them there, follow them, engage with them across social media, and I think access to investors, access to capital is very easy. What is hard is for you to know who you are as an entrepreneur, what kind of a business you are building, and why is a particular business going to be, say, at least $100 million in revenue.
Right.
I think any business that is does not see itself getting to $100 million in revenue probably does not require an investor.
Right. Got it. So Ankit, just so we've talked about VCs and how scaling up a business is pretty easy these days, and you've also talked about this point that you're still a very confused entrepreneur. So now that VCs look for a vision for the company, what is your vision for Inside IIM going forward?
Yeah, so look, we want to continue to make as much free content as possible for people to make better career decisions across the board. Now, I mean, as and when we grow, we will keep adding more and more content. Like anything that the company does, will help people make better career decisions. That's clearly something that we will continue to do. And hopefully in that process, we will also help you choose an area to upskill in, which will make you more employable. And hence you will sign up, for Altuni with us. And we want to essentially upskill 1 crore Indians by 2030. That's what our vision is. We believe that we can transform, people's lives with the help of Altuni, right? Like, for example, this is a story here on the screen. Where we have somebody who enrolled for one of our digital marketing program. He got a 92% hike. He joined, Unilever, which was a dream company of his and his dad. For years, he was stuck in a low-paying job, right? This is a fresher who was from the COVID batch, who had no work experience, has got no full-time opportunity for 2 years since graduation. She did not even believe that any online course can actually help her get a job. But she was among the first persons to get, a job via Altuni. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who signs up for our program, ends up getting a job. But all I'm trying to say is that, this is the kind of transformation we want to bring to people's lives. And we believe that if we can upskill 1 crore people, a large percentage of those people will see a positive transformation. And that means that it will have a positive impact on their families, which means that we'll end up impacting maybe 20 to 25 crore Indians. And that's how we are thinking about our journey from here on.
Right. That's very clear, Ankit. Ankit, so over the past 10 years, you're no longer an entrepreneur, you're also a leader for the firm that you're working with and for the people that are working with you. So what exactly is your leadership style if you were to describe it? How do you impart the culture that InsideIIM stands for within the organization?
Very tough question. You should probably ask people who work with me what my leadership style is. I have never defined it. I don't know if I should. Maybe it's a good idea. But the one clear values that I try to impart to anybody who joins the company is that we are authentic as an organization. I am authentic as a person, and I want the organization to be also authentic. So what you see is what you get, right? Never promise anybody something that you can't deliver. So for example, for any of our programs, you're very upfront. Look, this is not a job guarantee program. I'm telling you upfront, please don't join us if you feel that you want to, that we are not promising you anything of that sort. We will improve your odds of getting a job. And you can give your feedback once the course is done, but please don't, have any false promises from our side. That's number one. And the same is with, even our business to business clients, firms that we work with or universities that we work with. So I think authenticity is a big value for us. The second thing is that do right by, your user or your customer. So I think any decision that we take should have user centricity at, its core. So if there is something that will probably help us make more money, but it is going to be detrimental to a person's life, then we will not take that decision, even if it means that we have to grow slowly. And I think that's how I like to take any decision, with respect to even people who we work with. So I am not going to praise somebody in my team unnecessarily just because, I want to make that person feel good temporarily, because I feel that could lead to that person's growth getting stunted, which is not the good thing in the long run. So yeah, I would say that authenticity and doing right by the person are values that I believe in, and that's what I try to kind of share with my team as well. Now, in terms of managerial styles, etc., I think there are a lot of flaws that I have, but let's not talk about it on this forum.
Sure. So, Ankit, I personally have first-hand experience of how important mentoring is in somebody's career. So if you had mentors in your career, how did you pick and choose them? And you yourself are a mentor for a lot of other people. So how do you deliver the experiences you've had in your life to them?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I do have some mentors in my life who I So I believe in building very deep relationships with people. It takes time, but you have to be very giving in your relationships, especially when it is around getting mentored by somebody. Because if somebody takes interest in your career journey or what you want to do in your life, you need to be grateful to that person, because those people aren't really often getting too much in return. So you need to be cognizant of the quality of their time, and hence you need to give a lot in terms of enrichment to the other person as well. Otherwise, why would anybody be interested in mentoring you? A lot of people have this belief that I will just keep asking questions, keep getting lots of knowledge, and then I'll just move on. But any mentoring is a two-way street, right? So a lot of people who I consider mentors tell me that they get certain insightful things from me about say young people, or careers of young people that I am currently say close to because of my work. And then when I pass on that information to them, they find it useful, or they feel that they've learned something new as well. So I feel that for a mentorship relationship to be successful, it has to be a two-way street where each person is giving something to the other. And it's not even, at the end of the day, obviously the person with more experience will end up giving far more even then. But don't be somebody who's just soaking everything from somebody without giving something back in return. And it need not happen immediately, right? It could even happen over time. So that's what I think is the best way to look at mentorship. And the other thing is that, look, you have to cultivate that relationship knowing that a lot of people will not stop showing interest, and you need to be okay with it. It's fine. There will still be some people who believe in you and will want to give you time, so it's fine. I mean, you build it, but be authentic. Don't be fake. Don't try to create an image about yourself that you are not. It won't work. Most smart people will easily see through that.
Absolutely. Golden words there, Ankit. So Ankit, let's just circle back to your business story. Over the past 10 years, I'm very sure you might have seen other firms crop up with a similar idea. They were in the business for some time and then they just disappeared. So, but InsideIIM has stood by its ground over the past 10 years. So how did that happen? How do you ensure your business is sustainable, just as your philosophy, build for the next 100 years? How did you ensure, or how are you ensuring InsideIIM stands by its words?
Yeah, I think I come from a Gujarati family, and business is very indirectly taught to you by the environment around you. So as they say, you only spend how much you earn, right? Or obviously less than how much you earn. For any kind of sustainability, it's important that you are disciplined with how much money you are willing to bet. People feel that entrepreneurship is all about taking risks and burning a lot of money, and then may go big or go home. Whereas what if you look at enduring brands that have lasted hundreds of years, are built by people who have been very clear about their risk management, and have prioritized survival over glamorous going home big kind of a thing, right? So I think it's a philosophical thing. So you spend as much as you have, and figure out ways to ensure that you now we also have investors, and there is obviously certain amount of pressure for growth, but I think the kind of investors we have are also people who understand what is our DNA as a company, and they know that we are not going to be 1000x in 2 years or anything of that sort, or we are not even attempting to do something like that. So I think that kind of helps in ensuring that we sustain and stay forward. Right. So by the way, Harshita, do you think we should take some audience questions, given that we don't have a lot of time left? I think I see a lot of questions here in the Q&A.
Sure, Ankit, I'll just pass by a few questions by you. So somebody, Suyash, is asking you, what was the story about hair and cockroach that you were talking about in your slides?
Yeah. Everybody, when we were kids, we've heard the story about the hare and the tortoise, right? And the unfortunate thing for me is that I have always wanted to be the hare actually, and not the tortoise. Although now my philosophy is that I want to build for the 100 years, etc. But my actions were always, towards okay, I want to run fast, and which is why there has been a tremendous amount of impatience in wanting to grow. But at the same time, my roots kind of pull me back, and hence, I don't know if you guys know, but like cockroach is probably the only living creature that is likely to survive even a nuclear disaster.
Yes.
Right, and in many ways, those cockroach instincts kind of take over and overpower the hare instincts in me, saying that survival is most important. Even trying to be the hare, you might end up, not surviving at all. So I like to bring this up because it's important to know who you are, right? So you might feel that you are this, but eventually you realize that actually, you are better off being a cockroach that survives eons rather than being a hare who's going to just win a small race quickly. It gives you a lot of dopamine rush to be a hare, but the real game is in being a cockroach and surviving forever.
True words, Ankit. So circling back to what you said, Ankit, if you were to go back and change something all over again in your entrepreneurial journey, would you do that? And what would it be if yes?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I was not very clear about what I was building or what kind of a business I was building. And which is why, there was constant tension about, should we go and raise money? Should we not go and raise money? It's just very confused and a very, it was a path which lacked clarity. And then that led to a lot of unnecessary anxiety. If I had a chance, what I would do is go back and in time and would have said that, okay, think about something like what is the market size of the business that you are building. It seems like something that every entrepreneur feels that figure it out, but actually it's a very important question.
Yes.
The earlier you ask yourself that, the easier it will become for you to then know what kind of a company you're building, what does it require, what kind of people it requires, and then things will fall into place. There is no right or wrong here, by the way. It's just about knowing yourself and knowing what you are building and in what kind of a market you are building. So I think I had a lot of a mismatch in understanding this, and I think I lost a lot of time because of this. So while I'm very smart now in hindsight, I think in those years, definitely there was a lot of unnecessary anxiety. So I would change just that. If you guys are starting up today, I would say that please do deep reflection about who you are as a person. Do deep reflection about what business you are building and what your core strength and skills are as a business. And then think about, whether it is what the market really needs and how big that market could potentially be. I think once you're able to answer these three questions, you will have a lot more clarity, towards building.
Right, Ankit. So there's one more question that the audience asked, talking about market scenario. What do you think is one exciting market trend that is creeping up these days and that you are looking forward to, that people basically can encash on?
Yeah, if I knew this, though, wouldn't I be the richest person and and encash it myself? But what I would say is that India is in a great spot right now. There will be availability of capital for the next 2 decades. I don't think that capital has been so cheap in India ever. and we've never even seen this kind of money in India.
Right. True.
So if you have an idea, or if you are driven to do well and solve problems that you see around you, then this has never been a better time, and it does not matter which sector you choose. I think there are so many problems in this country. Just get out of your house and walk on the road for 2 hours, and you will like come up with 20 different business plans. You can solve right from the garbage problem in your locality, to the quality of the air around you, to the lack of basic sanitation facilities, to the lack of basic education. Like, it's like literally just go out on the road and you see like 20 problems hitting you, and not every problem has to be solved by the government. So itna zyada, matlab, there is no secret sauce anywhere ki, oh, this is the great area that I will target, and then suddenly become very rich, or will be able to exploit it. I think most of the problems are around you, and the companies that you will see which will flourish in the next year, 10 years, are going to be probably from the same industries that you already see them from right now.
Correct.
So don't be very worried about knowing, getting some ऐसा कुछ secret sauce नहीं है कहीं पे that is there. Almost all secret sauces are lying in plain sight.
Correct. True. Yes, true. So Ankit, you must be aware that the theme for this year's E-Club, E-Conclave is 0 to 1. So what is that 0 to 1 moment in your entrepreneurial journey for the last 10 years? If you were to pick and choose just one life-changing or business-changing activity you've done.
I would say the power of earned media. If you can build something that people love and they will talk about, then it will be transformational in your business journey. So let me give you an example. Like, for example, if you build content on YouTube which people love, and if they keep sharing it with hundreds and thousands of people, you will get customers without having to spend any money after that. Now, obviously, this sounds easy to speak in theory, but you can actually, there are multiple such ways of getting earned media, or you can, the older term for it was, word of mouth.
Yes.
So the secret, I would say, what can take you from 0 to 1 is word of mouth. There is nothing, because no amount of marketing expenditure can take you from 0 to 1. What will take you from 0 to 1 is that you build something so good, or that you do something that people love so much that they will talk about it, and automatically you will start getting customers.
Right. True. So Ankit, we're almost at the end of the session. So I'll just wrap up the session with one very important question from the audience. If you can leave us with 3 do's and don'ts for entrepreneurs among us, what would they be?
The first one is, like I said, think long term, build for the next 100 years. I truly believe that India requires people who will think that long term. And because capital will be available, you will get smart people to work with you as well. So don't try to build something in order to make quick money. Build something for the long run. Build something that will endure and will impact millions and millions of people. At least that should be your starting point. The second thing is gauge the market size of whatever business you plan to enter in. Not easy. There is this famous saying that an average person in a great market will always outperform a great entrepreneur in a very small market.
Correct.
Right. So never forget that. That's definitely the second thing that I would want to leave you with. And the last thing that I want to leave you with is, again, what is been my personal experience and motto, which is that there is nothing that can give you the kind of freedom that entrepreneurship can give you. If you can stay an entrepreneur without ever needing external investors, nothing like that. That means that you have absolutely the most amount of freedom in the world. But but it should be aspirational for people to build even a 50 crore business, with maybe a 25 crore profit after tax or 20 crore profit after tax, because that is incredible. You will still be amongst India's, top 0.2% odd people. And I don't understand why everybody wants to be like, okay, I want to only be a unicorn, or I only want to be, X billion dollars. There are, other ways also to be an entrepreneur, and which will be a far more rewarding, fulfilling life, where your users will love you, and your employees will love you, and you can literally do whatever you want, with your life. And anyway, the marginal utility of money stops reducing after a particular amount of money that you earn. So, so value your freedom over everything else.
And Ankit, what about the 3 don'ts?
I would say the number one thing is that do not, do fraudulent things to, get funded. There are people who show revenues that they haven't actually earned. A lot of that kind of bullshit happens in India. I know actual cases of that. And that's not cool. Sooner or later, you will be found out. Everybody feels that they can fake it till they make it. But again, if you are building a legacy and a heritage and a brand for the long run, then don't take fraudulent means to do anything of that sort. The second thing I would say is that don't get swayed by what you read in popular media. Almost 95% of media is promoted / sponsored / agenda driven. There is no such thing as neutral media. It never existed, and it will never exist. So when you see that a particular entrepreneur or a particular company is getting a lot of PR attention suddenly, I can guarantee that 8 out of 10 times it is paid for. Like, there are actually agencies that you pay to create a buzz about you. But hence what eventually ends up staying, is the quality of the product and what their customers talk about that particular product. So don't get swayed by press releases that people, give you about any particular thing, right? One last thing I want to say again is that don't do anything that is not in the interest of your customer, whoever your customer is. The moment you decide that, okay, let me make some quick profit in this quarter because my user will not realize this and I will probably get away with it, that's not going to happen. And hence my suggestion is always do right by your customer. So yeah, don't be fraudulent in how you report revenues. Don't get swayed by popular media, and do right by your customers.
Those are beautiful takeaways from the session, Ankit. I'm very sure everybody would have enjoyed whatever information that you've passed on to us. And thank you so much for being here at IIT Bombay. And if Siddharth, you're on the call, off to you.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. I hope it was useful.
Thank you, Harshita. Thank you, Ankit. Thanks for taking out your time. And hope you have a great evening ahead. And we